Hello students, in this video we're gonna talk about John Keats' famous poem La Bella de Sa Mercy, and this is really important not just for our university level exams but also for UGC NET. Earlier it was part of both graduate level students as well as postgraduate level students, but nowadays this is only for BA Part 3 at Punjabi University, but otherwise I have seen that some of the universities are teaching this poem for it's there in the postgraduate level student syllabi also, right? So the poem is actually written by John Keats, and John Keats wrote it after the death of his brother. His brother was suffering from tuberculosis, and TB being a contagious disease, so just because of that John Keats was also infected. So when he got infected, he was just approaching his death, and somehow his in the meanwhile his girlfriend also dished him, so it further added to his agony. This poem is actually a ballad, and it was written in 1819. This is so important, and why everyone is emphasizing on reading this poem is because first of all we have to understand that various literature eminent people from English literature, they have used this poem as a reference point. The English translation of this particular theme, this particular title, La Bella de Sa Mercy, is the beautiful woman without mercy. So there is a woman, and why she is called merciless, we're gonna study this thing. Before we move further, I would like to tell you that there are 12 stanzas, there are 4 lines because it's a ballad. If you don't know what a ballad is, my recommendation to you is that I have already made a video quite a long time back, so you can refer it. The rhyming scheme is ABCB, and the another important part is that the meter is Barchi catalectic meter. What is some people called it Baki catalectic meter. Some say this one. I will stick to Baki catalectic meter. So what is Baki catalectic? Catalectic meter is the one in which one of the verse has a syllable less than compared to the other line. So let's say in case we have 4 lines, the last line or one line will be having one syllable less than the other, and in case there are 2 syllables shorter, the verse is 2 syllables shorter, then this thing is actually named as Baki catalectic. Now there are various films, movies, songs, paintings as well as books which are inspired or have taken inspiration from this particular work. That's why it is important. However, this work is not original. This work itself is actually inspiration from a 15th century work written by Ellen Chartiers with the same title. So the works which I will be discussing, the books which have actually referred to this theme or this title, is the first one is written by Arthur Conan Doyle, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, sorry, in his famous work, The Memoir of Sherlock Holmes. In that he has referred a lady, the murderer, as La Belle de Sa Mercy, means please, she's a lady, right? She's merciless. The next one is Agatha Christie in her work mystery novel Murder in Mesopotamia. In that work also she actually referred the lady, the protagonist, as with the same name. So the next one is Vladimir Nabokov. He's a Russian writer, wrote the famous work Lolita. So he also says the same thing about in his novel. And another work, The Real Night of Sebastian Knight, The Real Life of Sebastian Knight. In that work also Nabokov actually used the phrase. So this is all about the inspirations taken by John Keats and the works which are inspired by this particular work of John Keats. So we're gonna start with the poem, and I'll be calling it a poem. You can call it a ballad also, same thing, because it's just a category, right? So let's get started. Before I begin, I would like to tell you that there are 2 speakers and we need to differentiate between both of them, right? So first there is another narrator, another speaker, right, who starts talking to a protagonist. So he says, "Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering? The sedge has withered from the lake, and no bird sing." So he's saying that what has happened to you? Why are you looking so pale and sick and unhealthy? The person who's wearing a shiny armor, the knight, why are you looking so lifeless. It's looking as if you're not well, you're unwell. Further he says, "Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, so haggard and so worn begone? The squirrel's granny is full, and the harvest done." So he's further saying that, what is making you so sick, knight? Why are you walking so lifelessly? Why are you looking so low with your energies? What has happened to you? And even if he's saying that, it's a nice weather, the farmers, they have already harvested their crops, and even the squirrels have stored their food in their granaries. And further he says, "I see a lily on thy brow with anguish moist and a fever dew, and on thy cheeks a fading rose fast withered too." And then he says that, "I can see that even your forehead is going pale, it's becoming yellow, just like the lily flower." Some poetic device has been used, right? "With the anguish moist and a fever dew," you're sweating, it's feeling like if you are feverish. "And your cheeks, which used to be red earlier, rosy red, now they are also fading, they are also becoming yellow. The color is becoming yellow, you're looking so pale. What has happened to you? And the color is fading quite fast," right? And then the knight, he replies, "I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, her eyes were wild." So he says that, actually I met a lady in this woods, in this grassland. Meads is actually the meadow, and she was very beautiful. I felt as if she was a child of some fairy, and her hair were long, and also she walked so elegantly. I felt as if she's floating. Her foot was so light, and her eyes were wild. Further he says, "I made a grassland in her head, I made her a garland for her head, and bracelets too, and fragrant zone. She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet mourn." So he said that, "I made a tiara, a flower tiara made up of flowers for her, and also I made a bracelet for her." And then, because there were a lot of flowers, so the ambience was full of fragrance. But further, and then she looked at me, and as if she has already fallen in love with me, and then she made a sweet moan, like, "Oh," right, this is a sweet moan. And then he says, I set her on my pacing steed, and nothing else saw all day long. For sidelong would she bend and sing a fairy song." So he said that, "I made her sit on my horse, and then I started walking beside her, and then when I was walking, like, all of a sudden she bent down and she started singing a beautiful song, right, as if some fairy song." And then he says, "She found me roots of relish sweet, and honey wild, and manna dew, and sure in language strange she said, I love thee true." And then he says that, she got me some herbs, she got me some fruit, some things from the forest, which were really sweet, which were heavenly, and the honey was also like, everything was so sweet, and it made me full of energy, because he used the word manna dew. What is manna? Manna is actually the food which was given to Israelites. It has been mentioned in the Bible, and that particular food actually provided energy to the Israelites when they were suffering. So it was a heavenly food. And then he says, "She took me to her elfin grot, and there she wept and sighed full sore, and there I shut her wild, wild eyes with kisses four." So then he says that, she had taken me to some cave, grot, and it was a grot is actually unpleasant cave. It's something, it was a bit airy. And then he said that, it was a bit mystical, it was a bit mysterious, because he has used the word elves. Elves are supernatural, so the element of supernatural element is there, right? And then he says, "And there she wept and sighed full sore," and then she started crying and crying and crying. And then I tried to console her. For that, I shut her eyes, and then I kissed her 4 times. Then he says that, "There she lulled me asleep, and there I dreamed, woe betide, the latest dream I ever dreamt on the cold hill side." And then he said that, she tapped me, patted me for some time, and then I had fallen asleep, and then I had a dream, the dream which has made me so worried, which has scared me to hell, which has changed my color to pale. that dream, the last dream which I had, and I dreamt it on the cold hill side. Then he says that I saw pale kings and princes too. Pale warriors, death pale were they all. They cried, Lebela, they saw mercy, thee hath enthrall. And then he says that I saw prince, I saw kings, I saw warriors. I saw them and they all were as pale as I am right now. And then they all said the same thing. They said, Le Belada, see mercy, like the beautiful lady without mercy, and thee hath enthrall, like you are also overpowered by her, you are already captured by her, and that's why I am scared. Then he says, I saw their starved lips in the gloam, with horrid warning gaped wide. I awoke and found me here on the cold hills side. So he said, after that I suddenly woke up, scared, hell scared with this dream, and then they all were because they all were warning me. So because of that warning, I got up and then I found myself here at the cold side of the hill. And then he in the end he says, and this is why I sojourn here alone and plainly loitering, though the sedge is withered from the lake and no birds sing. So he says that that's why I am temporarily staying here. Sojourn is to stay somewhere for a short period of time. So I'm just loitering around here, even if everything is dead and no birds are singing, because he's still coming up with what has happened. So it is a fairy tale which has gone awry, right? So this is the summary of the poem. In between I have already mentioned that there are some poetic devices used, so it's your duty now to check what are these poetic devices, what are the rhetorical devices they have used. Apart from the rhetorical devices, there are some questions like you can narrate the story from the first speaker's point of view, and with the knight's point of view. And another thing is that these lines like I saw pale kings and princes too, this is also a title of another poem, another inspired works. There is this one, no bird sing. Every time people talk about environmental problems or this global warming in various international summits, they use this particular phrase, and then they refer John Keats, although they are trying to, I don't know how high they are aiming, but of course they might be saying that he had this idea or whatsoever, right? But still the line has been used. So in case you are unaware about the rhetorical devices and the poetic devices, I have already made the video, so you can do refer to them. Another important thing is that in John Keats' poetry, the element of love and death are there. John Keats had taken death as his muse many a times, we have seen in his poetry or in his poems. So but my request to you, rather my advice to you, is that don't make death your muse, let learning be your muse. Take care, God bless, bye bye.